If you are the parent of a baby and you keep hearing that Japanese children grow up with sharper focus and stronger language, and you want to know what the habit actually is, I need you to listen to me. Right now, somewhere in Japan, a mother is sitting on a tatami mat, handing her baby a small wooden block. And right now, somewhere in America, a mother is sitting on a gray sofa, handing her baby a tablet. Those two babies' brains are doing very different work today, and the difference is not genetics. It is a habit. I'm Naomi. For 20 years, I ran a small Japanese daycare out of my kitchen, and I watched these habits build sharper children in every kind of family. There are 5 habits behind that sharper child, and they are not what the parenting industry sells you. No flashcards, no classes, no screen-based brain training. 5 small things any parent can start today. Here they are. The 5th is the one that changed the most in 20 years at Sakura House, and I want you to stay for it. But the first one you can start the next time you pick your baby up. Rule 1, stay close on purpose. In the first year, keep your baby physically close to your body far more than you think you need to. Carry them. Sleep near them. Bathe with them. Their brain is being built by contact. Your instinct, and it is a warm one, is to put the baby down safely, in the crib or the bouncer or the playmat, and let them get used to their own space. You have been told this builds independence. In Japan, we start the other way around. We start with contact so deep the baby knows the world before it knows the room. From birth to 4 months, you wear your baby against your chest while you do the small things of your day. Making tea, folding a small pile of laundry on the floor, standing at the window. Not for a scheduled bonding hour, but during your ordinary movement. When your baby fusses in the night, you do not wait a set number of minutes. You reach for them. You bring them close. That closeness is not a habit you will have to break later. It is the foundation. When my son Yuto was 6 weeks old, I carried him in a soft cloth against my chest through every morning at Sakura House. I made bottles for 6 other babies with him strapped to me. I answered the door with him strapped to me. He napped there. My mother had done the same with all 5 of us on a much busier morning than mine. Tonight, when your baby cries and you are unsure whether to pick them up or wait, pick them up. That is the whole first year of this rule. From 6 to 12 months, you keep your baby on the floor at your level, not in a plastic activity center across the room. You sit on the tatami or on your rug and let your baby lean against your leg while they play. Bath time is together, not solo in a baby tub while you scroll a smartphone across the room. Your body is the environment. When they crawl away to explore something, they will crawl back to your body to refuel, then away again. That is exactly right. From 12 to 24 months, you still carry your toddler when they ask, even when other adults say they are too big. A tired toddler asking to be carried is not regressing. They are reloading. You put them down when they wriggle to be down. You pick them up when they lift their arms. This is not spoiling. This is Japanese for the child leads the closeness. At scale, at Sakura House, I never once turned down a raised pair of arms in 20 years, and those babies did not become clingy children. They became children who walked calmly out the door because they knew where the door led back to. Contact first, then the room. My mother did this with all 5 of us in a small Saitama apartment. I did it with Yuto and Hana. I watched it work with about 200 other people's babies at Sakura House. Same small habit every time. Closeness first, capability grows out of it. Take what works for your family and leave what doesn't. I am not saying the crib is wrong. I am saying that when your baby reaches for you, reaching back is not the thing you will regret. The next habit is the one that surprised the American parents at Sakura House the most, because it does not look like anything at all. It looks like an ordinary mother talking to a baby about a wooden block. And it is doing more for that baby's brain than a whole shelf of flashcards. Rule 2. Narrate the day. From the day your baby is born, talk to them in full, real sentences all day long about what you are doing, what they are doing, and what comes next. Not baby talk, not silence. Real language poured over their day. Your instinct is to save your real conversation for other adults because the baby cannot answer yet, and to hand them a tablet or a bright app to stimulate them in the meantime. In Japan, we do almost the opposite. The mother is the app. Her voice, describing her ordinary day out loud beside a curious baby, is the richest early language input a child can receive. From birth to 6 months, you describe what your hands are doing out loud while you do it. I am warming your bottle. I am testing it on my wrist. Now we are sitting down together. You do not need a funny voice. You need real words. Your baby's brain is mapping sounds into meaning, and the more real words wash over their day, the more shape that map takes. This is exactly the picture you can see in your head right now. A mother on a tatami mat in front of shoji screens, a baby in a white outfit, 2 small teapots on a low wooden side table, a small decorative plant in the corner. When my granddaughter May sits on the tatami with me, I hand her 1 red wooden block. I hold a green one. I do not say, block, 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 isn't that pretty? I say, this is your red block. It is smooth on this side and rough on that side. Mine is green. If I put mine down here next to yours, you have 2. She babbles back. I answer her babble as if she has spoken. You are telling me about the green one. I know, it's a good one. Tonight, when you sit with your baby, try 1 sentence you would say to another adult about the block, about the cup, about the light coming through the window. Then wait and answer whatever sound comes back. From 12 to 24 months, you narrate the morning routine out loud in the order it happens. First, we take off pajamas. Then we put on the blue shirt. Then we walk to the door. Your toddler is learning sequence, cause and effect, and language all at once, folded into 1 small habit. You use the real words, kettle, spoon, genkan, step stool, not the softened ones. Their brain can hold real words. Trust it with them. From 3 to 5 years old, you describe process, not talent. When your child stacks blocks and the tower falls, you do not say you are so smart. You say, you put the big one on top last time and it tipped. This time you put the big one on the bottom. Look what happens now. You are handing them the language for their own thinking. By contrast, and I have watched this in many American homes I loved, a bright screen with fast colors does not build language. It replaces it. The baby's eyes look busy. Their brain is quieter than it looks. My mother narrated her whole day to me as a toddler in a way I did not appreciate until I did the same with Yuto and Hana, and then heard my own mother's rhythm coming out of my mouth. At Sakura House, about 200 children heard the ordinary day of a Japanese kitchen described out loud around them for years. Take what works and leave what doesn't. Nothing about your day is too boring to say out loud. That is exactly the point. The next habit is the one every American parent at Sakura House found the hardest to trust because it looks on the surface like doing nothing. It is the habit of protecting the moment when a small child has nothing at all to do. Which brings us straight to the tablet. Rule 3. Boredom is sacred. You leave your baby and later your toddler with almost nothing sometimes. A few simple objects, a patch of floor, your quiet nearness. And you do not fill the silence with a screen or a new toy the moment they look up. Your instinct, when your baby looks around and seems idle, is to hand them something bright, a tablet with a shape sorter app, a plastic activity center that lights up, a cartoon. You feel like you are being a good parent by adding stimulation. In Japan, we treat those idle stretches as sacred. That is when the child's own mind starts working. If you fill the silence, their mind never wakes up. From 6 to 18 months, you put your baby on the floor with 3 simple objects, not 15. 3. A wooden block, a wooden spoon, a cup that fits inside another cup. You sit nearby. You do not narrate every second. You let there be quiet. Your baby will pick something up, mouth it, drop it, look at you, look back at it. That is not nothing. That is their brain building the ability to focus for longer than 4 seconds. It is the exact opposite of what a fast-scrolling app teaches. Picture the other scene, the gray sofa, the white mug on the side table, the mother's smartphone in her hand, the baby in the blue romper on the carpet holding a tablet, 3 plastic block toys in blue and red and yellow untouched beside him. That baby is not calm. He is captured. His eyes are locked on a moving image his brain cannot pace. When you pull the tablet away, he will melt down because you have handed his attention span to an algorithm and asked to have it back. Your baby's brain at that age is supposed to be learning to steer its own attention. The tablet steers it for him. One rainy afternoon at Sakura House, 6 children between 18 months and 4 years old, no yard time, and I brought out nothing new. The blocks were already on the mat. 2 teddy bears in the corner. Within 20 minutes, the 4-year-old had turned 3 blocks into a train, and the 18-month-old was carrying a bear from one end of the room to the other, over and over, with a look of enormous concentration. No adult had directed a single second of it. That is boredom doing its real job. From 3 to 5 years old, you do not hand your child a phone in a waiting room. You bring a small notebook and a pencil, or nothing at all, and let them look around the room and think. You do not schedule every hour of a Saturday. You leave a chunk of the day empty on purpose. What do I do now is not a problem to solve for them. It is a muscle to let them build. Tonight, when your child looks bored, sit with it. Do not rescue them from it. That is the whole rule. Not a battle, a habit. My mother's generation raised children in rooms with almost nothing in them, and those children became engineers and teachers and grandmothers. I raised Yuto and Hana with a small shelf of wooden toys and a lot of empty floor. I watched about 200 children at Sakura House invent their own games out of quiet afternoons. Take what works and leave what doesn't. I am not saying screens are the enemy. I am saying that if your baby's mind never gets silence, it never learns to fill it. The next habit changes what happens at the table 3 times a day from the very beginning. It is one of the reasons Japanese children sit through long meals without a screen. And it starts far earlier than the American parents I knew ever expected. Rule 4. Feed the senses. From the very first solid foods, offer your baby real food from the family's real table. Tiny tastes of the actual meal. Real textures, real flavors, not months of one beige puree after another. Your instinct, and every jar in the baby aisle supports it, is to keep the flavors mild and the textures identical for as long as possible. Rice cereal, sweet potato, apple. Rinse and repeat. In Japan, we start early with variety on purpose. A tiny taste of miso broth, a small mash of whitefish, cooked greens. The mouth is a sensory learning organ, and we give it real work. From 6 to 9 months, you sit your baby with you at the low table, not in a plastic seat facing a tablet. You offer, on the tip of a small spoon, a tiny taste of the plain broth you are eating. Not seasoned strongly, but real. A grain of soft rice, a spoon tip of mashed fish. you watch their face. A grimace is not rejection. It is a new taste being cataloged. Tomorrow, you offer it again, and the day after. Their palate is being built while you think you are only feeding them. If any of this brushes into allergy territory, that is a pediatrician question. I can only tell you what we did at Sakura House. There was a boy at Sakura House, 4 years old when he arrived, who ate only white food, white bread, white rice, plain crackers. His mother was exhausted and blamed herself. We did not fight him at the table. We put one small piece of a new color on his plate every day, and we ate our own meal in front of him with no comment. Around week 3, he picked up a piece of tamagoyaki, held it up to the light, and put it in his mouth. By the end of the year, he was eating everything. The habit was real food on the table, no pressure, patience by the calendar, not by the meal. From 2 to 3 years old, you involve your toddler in the food. You let them stir the miso in the bowl with a small wooden spoon. You let them tear the leaves for the salad, badly. You let them carry their own tiny cup to the low table, slowly with 2 hands like it is treasure. When they help make the food, they eat the food. Tonight, hand your 2-year-old one small, real job in the meal. When my daughter Hannah was almost 3, she stood on a step stool beside me and stirred a bowl of miso soup with a wooden spoon. She splashed some. I did not fix it. She served herself a tiny cup of what she had stirred and drank it with the concentration of a tea master. She has cooked confidently ever since. From 4 to 8 years old, you sit at the table together. No phones, no tablets, no cartoons behind the child. The meal is the meal. Conversation, the food, the ritual of itadakimasu before and gochiso-sama after. Small, quiet frames that tell the brain, this is a real moment. Your child learns focus, gratitude, and taste, all in the same 20 minutes. My mother fed all 5 of us tiny tastes of everything on her table from the beginning, and none of us grew up picky. I did the same with Yuto and Hana. I watched it work with about 200 children at Sakura House, including the boy who ate only white food for a year. Take what works and leave what doesn't. I am not saying you must cook Japanese. I am saying that whatever your family truly eats, feed it to your child, slowly, from young. Which brings us to the last habit, the one I promised you at the beginning. The one that changed the most in 20 years at Sakura House, and the one that pulls all 4 of the others together. It is also the hardest to actually do, and I want you to hear why. This is the one I told you about, the habit that changed the most in 20 years at Sakura House. The one that decides whether all 4 earlier habits actually build a thinking child. Rule 5, watch, don't rescue. When your baby, and later your child, is struggling with something small and safe, you stay close, and you let them work at it. You watch. You do not step in. That watching, done every day, is what builds a mind that can solve problems. Your instinct, and it is a loving instinct, is to fix the frustration the moment you see it. The block that will not fit, the zipper that catches, the shoe on the wrong foot. Your hands move before you decide. In Japan, we have a word for the opposite habit, mimamoru, which in plain English means watchful presence. We stay close so it is safe. We do not remove the struggle because the struggle is the lesson. My granddaughter May is almost 2, and right now shoes are a war she intends to win alone. When she jams her foot into the wrong shoe, I do not kneel down and fix it. I sit on the bottom step where she can see me. I keep my face soft. I count quietly to 90 before I say one word. Most mornings, she solves it at around 40 seconds. When she does not, I give one small piece of information, never the solution. Look at the toe. That is all. Tonight, when your toddler is jamming a shoe on wrong, sit on the floor, count to 90, and see what they do at 40. Your toddler is trying to fit one wooden block through the gap between two teapots on the low side table. It keeps falling. They grunt. You are 2 feet away. You do not lean in. You watch. Their small hand adjusts the grip, adjusts again, turns the block, fits it through. The whole event takes 90 seconds. In those 90 seconds, their brain did the exact work an app cannot do for them. If you had leaned in at second 10, that work would not have happened. There was a boy at Sakura House, 4 years old, who wanted to build a tower taller than himself. It fell 6 times. On the 7th try, he put the biggest block on the bottom, and it stood. Every adult in that room had felt the urge to help him at try 3. Not one of us did. When it stood, he did not shout. He looked at it. He looked at me, and then he walked away, because the point was never the tower. The point was that he had done it. From 6 to 8 years old, your child is stuck on a math problem. You are at the same table, not hovering. They ask for help. You do not give them the answer. You ask one question that hands the thinking back. What have you tried so far? And you sit. This is the same rule at 8 that it was at 2. Close, but not rescuing. 20 years, about 200 children, and I never once solved a problem for a child who was still working on it. That watchful pause is what a thinking brain grows in. We watch. My mother did this with all 5 of us in a very small home where 5 children would have been much easier to manage if she had just done things for us. She did not. I did the same with Yuto and Hana. I watched it work with about 200 children at Sakura House in every temperament. The shy ones, the wild ones, the ones who bit. Take what works and leave what doesn't. Your child is more capable than the last hard morning made you feel. And that is what all 5 of these habits were quietly building toward. Not a smarter child exactly. A child whose brain has been given the conditions it needs to become itself. Close, spoken to, allowed to be quiet, fed real food, and allowed to struggle. Which brings me to what I actually want to leave you with. You do not need the flashcards or the classes or the app that promises to raise your baby's intelligence. You need 5 small habits done calmly most days from young. Hold them close, talk to them like a person, protect the quiet, feed them real food, watch them struggle without rescuing. That is the whole thing. Your baby is not behind. Your baby is not slow. Your baby's brain is doing exactly what it is built to do the moment you stop trying to accelerate it and start trying to protect the ordinary conditions it needs. 200 children taught me the same thing at Sakura House. Yours can have it too. Here is one thing I loved and still love about American parents: the open affection, the saying "I love you" out loud several times a day without saving it for a special moment. My generation did not do that. Your children are luckier than they know for it. I'm not a doctor. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a woman who spent 20 years with other people's children in her kitchen. Anything that truly worries you about your baby is a question for your pediatrician. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 habits surprised you the most? Or, if you are already doing one of them, tell me which one. I want to hear it. I read every comment. 2 culture parents raising a baby between Japan and somewhere else, I especially want to hear from you. If you want, subscribe. Every week I share one more of the small habits from the Sakura House wall in plain English for parents who want a calmer house and a more capable child. That's all we do here, no hype. For 20 years, I had a waiting list of families I could never take. This channel is for them. Next week, the dinner table habit that finally cracked the boy at Sakura House who ate only white food for a year. It is smaller than you would think. Small habits, calm children. See you next